Harley Davidson, a over 100-year-old brand that has expanded across international borders to have cult followings across the entire world. A brand that has grown the stigma over the past 20 years or so of representing just strictly 40-plus-year-old double IPA drinking tough guys. I had the privilege of riding a 2018 Heritage Softail 750 miles across the Washington State area. And I wanted to give my hot take on how a 20-something-year-old looks at Harley Davidson today. All right, so initial takeoff of this bike. This has the 107 cubic inch motor. Apparently it's got a lot of pep in its step. And holy shit, it does. So I know that you've only watched me ride the bike for about 15 seconds right now. Here's something I want to note. The 107 cubic inch motor compared to that 88 cubic inch motor in front of me on the 2006 Heritage Softail that has a full stage 1 setup. This 107 completely stock blows that thing away in terms of power. It is way quicker, feels much more nimble of a bike. I don't know how else to put it. I'm not trying to hate on my own dad's bike, but it's undeniable that in just over a decade of progress, they've really made a lot of progress with these bikes. Let's take a quick moment to talk about the suspension. The whole point of a Softail, the reason why they designed it is that they wanted to get rid of the brutal ride of a hardtail. And for those of you who don't know, a hardtail is just basically when there's no suspension in the rear, it's just a spring or seat mounted to the frame. So Softails came about because they figured, hey, if we could put a shock absorber underneath the seat, have it hidden, it'll look like a hardtail, but it won't have the awful suspension of a hardtail. I gotta say, man, I don't know what it is. The spec of this bike, the suspension is very soft. Anytime I hit bumps, it never feels too ridiculously harsh. Maybe I'm just going soft on it because I honestly love this bike, but the suspension feels pretty good. Just bopping up and down like that, no biggie. Hitting small things, you don't really feel it at all, especially at this seat. That's why cruisers are so nice. The mixture of the seat, the weight, the suspension, you can't really go wrong with it on a ride like this. So I want to get a little bit more controversial, and I want to talk about what I would call the premium Harley experience in their bikes compared to the price tag that you're actually paying for. Here we have pretty much a $20,000 bike. Now that's a lot, right? That's a lot of money. We can all agree on that. Now, when I rode this bike, it's really easy to pinpoint certain things that I really enjoyed about it. And when you single them out, like self-canceling signals, a key fob that allows you to just fire up your bike right away, one-touch bags for opening and closing them. If you single those things out, it makes it really underwhelming for how much of a price tag that yields. And I get it. That's years and years of paying off a bike for these minor things. But that being said, when you combine all these aspects of how nice it is to ride this bike, it's really hard for me to put a price tag on convenience. I don't know how else to describe it. You have that signature personality of every Harley bike with their engines, how they're mounted, the whole deal. You have the convenience of everything I just listed. Me personally, after riding this, am I going to go out and buy a new Harley because it has cruise control and all these cool things? No, I don't want to spend 7 years paying that off. But that being said, I think that depending on the right person, it could be appropriate. It could be worth it. And it's something that I think you shouldn't knock until you try it. So on the topic of styling, I want to speak on this because I actually happen to fall into the target market that Harley is looking to sell to. Early 20s to early 30s, right around that ballpark. Now, with the average Harley rider being 44 years old, they're obviously trying to bring in the next generation of riders, right? It makes total sense. I'm just going to go out and say it. I think they're going in a really good direction. I think over the past 5 years of bikes that they've cranked out, I've really enjoyed the look of most of them. Not just some of them, not a few, but most of their bikes. I do appreciate the looks of them. They say that black is the new chrome, I think that applies really well to my age demographic, but this is something where it's obviously up for discussion. We'd love to hear everyone's thoughts on this. So in terms of styling, I'll just leave it short and sweet. I think they've been really knocking it out of the park with the modern looking bikes that still have that classic look to it. I really do enjoy them. I have no bias to liking them, but please let me know what everyone's thoughts are here in terms of styling with the new Harleys. So to wrap up my overall experience in riding this Harley on this trip, I think that Harleys are going to be plenty powerful. Let's just start with that. They're very quick, nimble bikes. And when I say nimble, I mean compared to the older bikes and the older generations, they've really been able to maintain, if not lower the weight a little bit, while increasing the power pretty substantially. So the power in these bikes is really going to be more than enough, in my opinion. I think that the ride quality is there, the power is there. I think the biggest hang-up that most people have with this brand is the stigma that surrounds it, kind of similar to a Corvette, and also the price tag. Now, that's going to be on you, and I think touching on the level of convenience that they bring in the purchasing of the bike, in owning the bike, the day-to-day usage of it, as I said before, it is very hard to put a price tag to that. But that being said, with where Harley sits as a company right now, there are plenty of times where I see dealerships offering different sort of incentives, whether that be better financing options, whether that be servicing included for multiple years. All these things really put more leverage in the consumer's corner. For all the people who are looking into Harley, give them a shot. Even the people who are on the fence about it, I think it's a really great experience to see what everyone means when they talk about the personality of these bikes and what they bring to the table. So thank you guys for watching this video. Really appreciate any input here. Would love to hear everyone's thoughts, and we'll see you in the next one.